Good morning, everybody. Ernest is already in Trolling Marina. The salt is real. The salt is real. All right, sorry. I was getting things adjusted. I realized that I had unplugged the mic last night. So my new headset. I know you guys have been keeping tabs on the microset fiasco or the headset, microphone, all that kind of jazz. So the old one I had after like 2 years died finally, but it always had. It was interesting. It took forever to get the new one, right? Everything was sold out, COVID-19. Finally got it, got the thing. Got it, and it's different. They're very much lighter headphones, and it has so many different sound options. But one of the things it does differently is the microphone actually it comes off. So you can take the microphone off if you just want to use it in headset form. Where the other one just kind of like went inside the actual speaker thing. So it's different. I keep trying to push it in. I'm like, oh, wait, I got to take this one off. So yeah, it's one of those things. So I keep taking it off. I'm like, oh God, where is it? And then the baby takes it and walks off with it. So yeah, microphone problems. There we go. It should be fine now. Yeah, I didn't hit the button. The funny thing is, I was explaining microphone problems and then I didn't turn the microphone on. Just so you guys know. Wasted 2 minutes of my life. Never get those back again. No, I was saying I was trying to set up with the old headset, with the new headset, they're different and the microphones are different. The other one went inside the earphone the ear things, where the new one it actually comes off. So I was trying to adjust it. James, what's up, my friend? We haven't seen you for a while, James. Um, yeah, no, Will, you should be able to hear it fine now. No, I didn't have it on. I had the microphone muted, but the system sound open, so the system sound will pull from a couple different microphones that I have. So yeah, it's residual. It just goes to show you that even though you have certain things on, everything still pulls in information. It's all good, James. I just get worried when people, aren't around. COVID-19, that kind of stuff. You never know what's going to happen. Especially you guys are in Texas, so I always worry about you guys. Like if you go silent, like, oh God, I hope nothing happened to him. But yeah, hopefully, James, hopefully family's good. All right, so last 24 hours. Basically, last 24 hours have more or less been a flop. Some good movement, but a lot of retraces. A lot of retraces in the last 24 hours. So, and look at the news. Markets limp into the weekend. Pound yen freezes at 50% Fibonacci. Momentum ceases, right? Although I do like this one right here. BOE Bailey not seeing recovery in hospitality. And again, talking about different things. Let's see, anything else in here? No, not really. E-commerce sales in China are good. They pick up slack. Yeah, okay. Not a quick recovery. Major markets consolidated ahead of Q3 recovery fund discussions. So again, a lot of talk about consolidation, and the 24-hour pip change is all the proof you need of it. 14 in the euro, -6 in the pound, which is like nothing, right? 12 in the yen, dollar Swiss down 40. That's the biggie. That's the big one of the day. Is the dollar Swiss, and that's a level we actually talked about yesterday at Chart School. Was one of the setups we had. Dollar CAD 33 up. Aussie flat in 24 hours. I don't know why the birds are making so much noise. Oh, you know what? I do. I know why the birds are making noise. Hold on one sec, guys. I gave them a little top off last night. And they're making noise because they're like, feed me. I'm hungry. They're going to chirp the whole time if I don't give them new food. All right. There. Eat. Eat. All right. Sorry about that. I was like, why the heck are they making noise? Oh, yeah, that's right. Last night I just threw a little bit extra food in there. So they are probably hungry. So yeah, now we're finally, the Aussie's moving now. We're down -1 in 24 hours. Euro pound up 15. A little bit more retracement on that one. But again, 15 is absolutely nothing. And then pound yen at 9 is like, wow. Yeah, nothing. Obviously there's movement intraday, but again, goes back to the same thing I've been saying for weeks, guys. It's a trader's market right now. It's not an investor's. It's not a swing market. It's a trader's market. So intraday trades, small positions, or smaller moves. Depending on your position size, again, you can adjust that accordingly to your risk. But again, really not too much going on. So really today, I mean, Governor Bailey, obviously that's the freshest news out there from about 2 hours ago. And then obviously the EU Economic Summit, and it looks like eyes are watching that one. Like I said, it mentioned it down here. Major markets consolidated ahead of crucial EU recovery fund discussions. So, yeah, when we get kind of releases from that, I think that's going to be the big. And again, it's only day one. Does it say how many days? I think this is 2. No backstopping. No, we still got. So yeah, so we may get some kind of highlights and things, but I don't know if we'll get a ton today. And then obviously preliminary University of Michigan consumer sentiment is important. It's supposed to go up, not supposed to go up tons. We like to get that a bit higher, but um, 79 is better than 78. So that's not horrible. Again, things moving a little bit better, and we'll see. I mean, this reading is always kind of again, it's University of Michigan. Michigan actually. I've been having this great debate. My wife told me that the kids could go to the tournament, and now they're not allowed to go to the tournament, but yet she's taking them to Michigan. And my debate is, well, you're taking them to a state that is spiking higher than Maryland, and you want me to not send the kids with their team to the tournament. Okay. So, yeah. So there's my battle that I'll be having later on today, again, for like the 5th time in a row. I'm telling you, James, I got to tell you, buddy, this whole, like, not being married or not being divorced thing is, looking better and better. I'm tired of discussions and debates. So let's dive right down to the scanner. Obviously, when the 24-hour changes are nothing, scanner life is a little bit hard. Okay, so as you'll see on the scanner, there's a lot of red X's, right? Things like the euro dollar, anchor break to the top side, but it's only up 15 pips in 24 hours. Okay, and that's solid red. That's not like 15 pips because it's pulled back in the last 60 minutes. That's solid across the board. 24, 60, 15, and 5 are all straight green. So, scanner's a little bit misleading. Kind of what I do want to take from the scanner this morning is kind of the two kind of glaring kind of trends, right? What do we see in the Eurobasket? Eurobasket is all, in this case, blue, not green, but you're seeing more or less positive strength across the board. And again, we saw that trend earlier this week. And this is how it's been. It's been kind of like once a currency has gotten a trend for the week, it's maintained that, right? For the most part. Now, we have green here. Flip across to our pound friends, and our pound is basically negative across the board, minus the pound Aussie, right? So for the most part, it's heading down. And again, looking at, pound dollar's down 6. That's nothing. Pound yen is up 7, but I wouldn't quite classify that as, that doesn't necessarily mean over the last, again, in the last 24 hours, it's down, but it's still not really moving. And then the Aussie basket is kind of looking like it wants to flip a little bit. CAD is obviously kind of skewed all over the place. You have weakness and strength on both sides. For the most part, though, it is CAD weakness. But then at the same time, we got a little bit at the bottom there where we're, against the CAD or versus the pound that it is going up, CAD strength. So it's mixed for the most part, but overall, I would say euro is strong, and strong, guys, is a relative term. But again, over the last 4 hours since the morning open, we've had euro strong, we've had CAD weak, we've had pound weak, and then Aussie is more or less, I'd say that's more consolidated. Because that's really split across the board. And then the big drivers in that one, obviously the Aussie yen and Aussie dollar are both kind of to the downside, but just slightly. They're more inconsolidated than anything else. Majors are all over the place, right? Going back to the left, majors are all over the place. Really, we have 3 anchor breaks. None of those really have massive movement except the Swiss. And again, that's down 40, bouncing off of a level, so we were kind of expecting that one, and that's giving us this anchor break to the downside. So really right now, trend-wise, strength-wise, everybody, battlefield look here. We got strength in the euro, weakness in the pound, weakness in the CAD. And that's what we're kind of going to have to go into for today. All right. So let's jump across, look at charts. Oop, I don't want to start with that one. I'm going to start with this one. All right. So also, we know it is now down 2 pips. So we're going a pip a minute at this point, or a pip every 5 minutes from the time we started. So as you can see, guys, this one really just is consolidated over the last hour. Here's your 4 hour. We've really been staying in that zone. We knew we had a zone yesterday. So go back to the hour. That was the 4 hours. Like, maybe a little bit far, right? So here's where we are now. Yesterday we were sitting right here. Okay. We had a bit of a spike up, grabbed these levels, and again, we were going for a little bit more than that. We were hoping for a burst, and then a bunch back down again. So there was actually a long position in this zone. In all honesty, I didn't take this trade. I don't really necessarily like the way these candles form, but there was a trade sitting right here. Okay. Let's change this to this color. Okay. So again, we did have basing, we did have a rally up, we did have a gap into that zone that showed us again that there were buyers in that area. Whoops, it's right there. Okay. Was it for me? Not so much. I mean, again, ways that you could have gotten into this trade. Again, large spike down. Again, this is a parabolic move. You have to expect a retrace in there. And again, it just retraces back up. And this one ended up pausing about halfway through. It kind of ran out of steam going late into the week. But, you know, it would have looked like this. And you guys would be out by now. Okay? So, again, I didn't take it. The timing didn't make sense for me. But, you know, again, also I did not necessarily love this zone. But there was a gap there. So, again, it was kind of a little bit of a telltale gap. Had you seen that earlier, we didn't really focus on it as much last night because I was really more focused on this one. You know, pushing higher because of news and then trying to get this one back to the downside. And it just ended up rolling over on us. It just didn't give us, you know, it didn't make it back up to there. And again, this is a level we've had on there for, you know, for most of the week when we were back over in here. So we're going to leave it there. I'm going to actually take the green off so we can kind of clean the chart up just a bit. And actually we'll take this off to kind of stop the lines, but we're going to keep that zone up there, knowing that that's a higher level. So today, again, smaller zone sitting right in here as well. Okay. That should actually be a pink. Right. So there's been a couple trades back and forth. For the most part, I see consolidation today. We may get a little bit of bump out of this one. Will it be able to blow through this bottom one? Yeah, I'm not confident this one will hold again. It was pushed literally to the brink. It was really good just for one shot because, again, we were playing off the gap. Playing just the wicks, really. But, again, using the gap as our confirmation for entry in that one. And, again, that's what it stopped into and kind of pulled back up again. So, I mean, I guess we could potentially take one more off the top if we can rally up that far. I mean, it's about 21 pips. I don't know. Downside, I mean, to get into a long, I don't really love any of these. I mean, there obviously there's the fresh paint right here. I like the fact that the wicks here are ascending. I wish they were closer. I wish it was more kind of in like this position, not necessarily on the spike down. Let's see on the 30 minute if it's going to give us anything. No, it's a double here. So I don't, you know, as much as I like the formation, I really think we don't have much movement until we get back down into this area. Error properties, black. I really don't like any buys until we're back down into this area. Flirting back down here with kind of the 69.25 area. And you guys can see, again, push down, retest on the 30 minute, and then it's where it kind of based sideways. So, I mean, that's where the entry was. Yeah, I mean, this is pushed all the way to the tip, right? I mean, we're all the way at the brink there. So I don't know that we're going to get an entry on this one today, but I mean, it's about 40 pips higher. I mean, Fridays, obviously, as you guys know, I am definitely out early on most things. It just, it'll flatline in the afternoon for us on the most pieces. But I mean, really, I mean, that's about the only thing I like right there. I don't think I'll take this zone again. We'll see. Maybe if it comes up there at 10 o'clock, maybe I'll be interested in it. But again, here was the original zone. Price forced down, base, came back up and retested, pushed down, came over and ended up missing that gap area. But again, would have made your 3-1 had you gotten into this quick piece here. And then it came up and again went all the way down and went to the zone where the gap had shown us there are buyers, and then it kind of rallied off of it. So if you really wanted to get something, and again, we start kind of pushing to the downside, if we can break this level and then we kind of pull up a little bit around that 10 o'clock, there is a potential short here. You could take some type of a continuation pattern down. And again, it's Friday. Once we get set in our ways, that may be where it continues. And again, that could be an okay 3-1. I mean, the risk is very small. You're only talking about 6-7 pips risk. So, it's only like 20-25 pips. I mean, if you haven't hit your 30 for the day, it may be something you want to grab. Like I said, I don't see that zone holding, but wait for it to break, get a little bit of white space, little pause, and then a pull back up into that zone for continued collapse. Okay, but besides that, again, I'd be looking for next week. I would actually kind of prefer that this kind of goes up. We get some dollar weakness in for the day. Get this to rally up, and again, looking for this as far as a possible Sunday entry. Okay, if we can get a gap in there on Sunday, or any type of push close to it, I'd be willing to take this one short. Okay. Looking to Aussie Yen. So Aussie Yen, yes. Does this look a little choppy in here? Yeah. Same thing. We had the same kind of rally up, right? So here's where we are now. We were right here. right here yesterday, right at this 9 o'clock. So again, we talked about reversals. What time, guys? I don't know if you guys can see it. Look down here at the bottom where the time is. What time did that reversal come in? I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm going to pause it there just so you guys can see it so we can get as clear as possible. 10:30, right? 10:30. So there was your 10:30 reversal. Again, rallied up in the morning, hit our zone at 10:30, boom, all the way back down again. Okay? Right there. And you ended up going all the way to your 1 to 5, which would have been fine. Your 1 to 3 was an okay target. Again, your 1 to 5 is a little bit far, but again, it wasn't all the way on the opposite end. So, there was your trade for today. And then since that time, we've leveled out and just kind of flatlined on us. So that zone, it's also been pushed pretty deeply. It pushed to that level. I don't know if you guys can see how close that one is at the top. It's technically already had 2 touches. I feel like going into a Friday, if we make that rally up, I feel like we're going to run out of steam. I feel like all the juice will be gone. I don't know if we'll get back down to a 1 to 3. But there is the potential to keep that one on for Sunday. Uh-oh, phone's going off. Who the heck is morning? I don't know who that is. Why is somebody sending this to me? I don't know. I'm going to have to figure that one out. I'm getting weird messages. My kid's probably trying to download something. All right. So, again, sideways movement. Not surprised in this one. Again, if anything, I would say that I would see more consolidation between these 2 levels today. Would definitely not be taking the green for a long. Again, it's spent way too much time here. We talked about it yesterday that we wouldn't really. I mean, again, we marked it off and said, hey, listen, it's been here. Could it hold? Sure, it could, but I'd much rather take it to the downside. I think the downside is better. So if we do come through and crash this level, and that level is over here at about 74.68, we could get a push down. That's about the best thing I have on this one. For some reason, if we do have a big day, like a surprising big move down, I do like this zone just to make sure we, again, for some reason, again, in the afternoon, if we have a late drive down, something happens, there's a tweet, God knows what, inflation is going to, somebody writes an article about inflation. 74.27 would be a great level for Sunday if we can get that low. So just keep that on your radar. Okay. Euro yen. So euro yen, we did get a push down. Again, we talked about having a big zone here. We had to be very cautious about this big zone. As you can see, kind of the same thing. Here's where we are now. Here's where we were yesterday. Or I'm sorry, we were here, right here yesterday, right? And also, I do believe we marked this one off. I don't know if we did or not. There's the level right there. And again, we were looking for failure to go higher. So we had one. And again, we mentioned that, kind of risky. But again, what did it do? You guys can see the time. Look at the bottom. Oops, hold on. Look at the bottom. Also 10 o'clock. So again, hitting these levels, again, high in the curve on a 4-hour basis at a reversal time, that provided the opportunity. And it went back down, and it went right back down to where it should have gone. It ended up flipping. It went just about that deep into the zone to the downside. Now, taking that for a long, that actually wasn't a bad one. I don't know if anybody was up that early this morning. I know some of you guys, are there around for the European Open. But again, I talk about timing and how important timing can be. Timing is also one of our biggest assets as a currency trader because you know when the markets are going to move the most. So this just happened to coincide with the European Open, and it just happened to be hitting an hourly level that price came down. It turned, obviously, so buyers stepped in, pushed up, came back and retested that level, barely grazed the top, and then launched itself off, which again is a big telltale sign that we have buyers there. It also coincided with the London Open. So if we are in an area when markets open, that's typically what gives us our bursts. And again, it bursted right back up again. So, and again, here's touch 1, here's touch 2, here's touch 3. Touch 4 is now peeking its head through the top. So we don't want to, we don't want to be selling out of that area again. At this point, let's see if it establishes itself a bit higher. Again, on the hourly, we don't have much above. You can see we're kind of in a racetrack above this zone here. Again, this was a 4-hour zone. So if we can burst through the top, we may have actually a long position for this today. But again, keep in mind, it is Friday. European markets are closing down in a few hours. And then at that point, it's solely at the whim of the yen. Okay. And with the U.S. market, we'll see. I mean, 10 o'clock will give us some consumer sentiment moves, but we'll see. Again, it's Friday. It could die out. It could give us some, but for the most part, the euro is out. So it'll be solely based off of a proxy position at that point. All right, so keep that in mind. But again, great setups. 10 o'clock, European Open. Look where your moves are. Stemmed from here, and it pushed all the way down. Open, boom, pop. All right, so that's good stuff there. All right, here we go. So, pound yen. All right, so I'm going to remove these now. I thought I'd moved these yesterday, but this was that level that we were really concerned about. We have it marked over here at the 34, so we're going to take it off now just to keep the charts speedy and not slow them down a bit. The goal is to remove a lot of the old stuff that we had in here. Oops. Thought I'd remove that too. There we go. All right. So 4 hour wise, we know we have a zone kind of sitting right below us, and that's at 33.90, right? So when I drop it down, that's what this is right down here. Okay, we know there's a 4 hour. I guess I could put the overlay on there. That's fine too. All right. So prices consolidated. We've kind of bounced off 4 hour levels. I was not necessarily, again, big 4 hour level, was not really interested in kind of just that brief touch. I wanted this to go higher to 135.34. And I mentioned that this is a little bit aggressive. Obviously, the 35.69 was better. As it pulled down, it didn't, I mean, it kind of made it back over into this area. I don't think we hit the white. Actually, we did. We hit the white zone. So we did end up hitting this zone here. And it's a level that we had talked about before, right? But we removed it because of the deep touch and ended up holding one more time. So, which is not bad, but I think this is really kind of setting up for a trap. I think if we get a push much farther down, I do think, again, this 133.90, it's where the 4 hour zone starts. It's a decent zone on the hourly level as well. I think we need to watch out for that level. And again, depending on the time today, when this hits, this could also give us that bounce that we were looking for. As far as where short targets are, yes, I know the 4 hour again here, it hit the dotted line and it bounced off the 4 hour. I still think I would rather hold for 135.34. I don't think that's in the cards today. That would require about 86 pips worth of movement now. And again, the pound is out in a few hours. So if anything, the way that this one looks, again, it's kind of consolidating in. You can see the highs coming down. It has put in a little bit higher lows. We'll see what side it breaks. But I think if it goes much farther, it's going to be hitting and bouncing. I would rather kind of go down there and stabilize, and I'd rather open Sunday there so we can go long Sunday night. But we'll see what this is able to do. Like I said, the EU Economic Summit is not going to affect this too much. And again, this is going to be solely up to the yen. And again, Polymer of M may give us some movement, but I just don't know if it'll give us enough on this one. Like I said, this one is pretty consolidated in. You guys can see here, even on a 4 hour. It's getting kind of shrinking, right? We had this and lots of trend. And now it's literally just kind of going back and forth, stalling back and forth again. And we're about 2/3 of the way to the buy area. Okay? So just keep that in mind there. So pound dollar. So pound dollar, we had an entry up top we wanted. Obviously, it rotated back on us. Here's where we are right now, the 8 o'clock candle. We can go back. The 8 o'clock is right here. Okay? We were in a push. Okay? We had one little basing here, but wasn't a huge fan of it. We wanted it to go higher. We wanted to come up to this zone, and we would have been all right with that as an aggressive entry. It didn't even make it. It got held up and stuck right here. I personally don't like that zone. I think that's kind of somewhat of a garbage zone myself. It ended up going just higher than that zone. So here, let me remove this so we can get a clearer picture. You guys can see that it literally went right up to the top, to that just a little tiny bit right there. Okay, wouldn't have been a position I took, right? And I didn't take this one. Again, kind of a middle of the night kind of turn on a double top like that. I'm just not there, If it would have come up even to this area maybe, then I would have been all right with it. But since that time, you can see it collapsed right about 10 o'clock last night, and it just really hasn't done much. It stayed within that same zone. So, there is a buying area below it. I think looking at this one in the hourly gives us the best picture. You guys can see the dotted lines here. This is a big 4 hour zone, a little bit of a zone here. And again, this is not a bad turn, right? I mean, it dropped, it based, and then launched itself. So I think it's going to have a little bit of a hiccup with that. It's about 13, 14 pips away. So, I don't know. I'm not really interested in taking it short. Again, it's in a 4 hour zone, so buyers can step in at a couple different locations. Would I take it long from there? Maybe, but again, we have some of these wicks that are, tearing. And again, on the 30-minute, you can kind of see that, right? These tops that are coming down. You guys can see it clear here, right? Down, up, down, 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 down. So, yeah, it really looks like it's in for a lot of consolidation, if anything else. Now, if you need something, guys, and again, I'm saying if, because remember, the pound is closing. if this thing drops, the 14, 15 pips into this zone and it takes an hour, hour and a half, and we get there that 10 o'clock time, yeah, there's probably an okay short, maybe in there. But I would rate this as like a B quality trade. I wouldn't rank this one very high. And again, because it could turn here, it could also turn down here in this wick over wick. So I don't love this one. Is it valid? Yeah, I mean, we're kind of at the lower end of the curve. We are in the bottom 33% between the tops and the bottoms here on the larger time frames. So it's viable, but I would only rate it as a B. It's not very high on my list. Okay. Euro pound. So Euro pound, we've basically retraced back to where we were on Tuesday. This one took kind of a funky, and again, we talked about these three areas here. We'd be willing to sell at 91.42. I'd still hold it. I'd be willing to sell at 91.42, and that's about it. I do like the retrace, but I think this one will also run out of steam. This one, if there is any news that does come out of that EU economic summit, this one will move. Okay, obviously with Brexit and everything else, they may mention Brexit, which again will affect this pair. Anything with the European, it will mention this pair. And again, the pound is pretty weak right now, so any news, again, will be a lot more. This pair is a lot more sensitive to European news than say like the euro dollar or the euro yen. Okay, so this would be kind of how I would play it on this side. What's up, Felix? How are you doing today? So yeah, I'm gonna move on, guys. I don't really like that one much. Here we go in the euro. Again, the euro is pretty close to a zone. Let's see. We were sitting right here yesterday, right in this level. So you can see we've moved, 10 pips so far. We did have a nice push up. And again, this is a zone that we talked about. It's been a bunch of time there. We knew that, again, we had sellers up top here. It wasn't clean, but 114.45 is what we're looking for. Ended up getting to 114.41. So again, in that same range, that same zone, and that was a turning point. And again, the reason I'm pointing it out, guys, is look at the bottom, right? Look at the bottom down here for the time. What time did it turn? What time did the flip happen? 10:30. Okay, so that's 3 separate trade opportunities from yesterday that all triggered at 10:30 a.m. So that's why I love this when people talk about how, wait a second, when do we trade? What's the best time to trade? I would love somebody to argue with me why 10:30 is not the best time to trade. Because again, that's 3 different trade opportunities we've had flip off that same time. Now, it pushed back down into that 1370 range. Again, that's where we talked about. You guys can see it. It's skirted right along. Again, that's where your profit target should have been for any type of a short. That's where we had the pullback to. Is that area good for one more? Probably one more. Again, that same kind of range here, that same bottom pink here. Again, this is the larger piece up here. Yeah, I'd probably take one more out of that. I wouldn't mind it. Again, we've only gone about 30-40% in. So something along the lines of probably, do we do the aggressive or do we not take the aggressive? We'll take it off of there. Let's see how much we got in here. It's about 16. We'll go a little right there to 14. I was trying to get just the 4 hour. Yeah, because that coincides with the 4 hour. Yeah, probably there. And again, that 1 to 3 is in a fine location. It's right, it's right after the kind of the initial start of the spike. It's about a 48 pip trade. I may even shorten that a little bit. I may even take that at 30 and just go with it. Again, Europe is running out and we only got a couple hours left. All right, so that'd be a downside position for today. Just a little bit more oomph, and then turn and flip. Dollar CAD was a mess. Okay, so dollar CAD came back up and it's now resting inside of that hourly level. You guys can see it right here. It's actually here. Yeah, it's this. I forgot that was hand drawn. It's in this level right here. Okay, so it's set up. We never ended up getting the push through this top side. Again, we were talking about this as being an area where we've seen push. It ended up bouncing off of it. We never got the entry on the other side. So I'm going to delete it now, take it off. We don't need it right now to kind of keep the chart fresher. Let's take this off here as well. All right. We don't need this one anymore. Let's go up one more. Pull these. I swear I deleted this one yesterday. All right. All right. This racetrack is gone, so we'll take that out. We'll take this out. That pop is, whoops. That pop is gone. All right. So 4 hour wise, you can see we're actually boxed in right now. Again, we got a top and a bottom, and I'm okay with those. We've marked off that level before. Honestly, that's probably the best entry right now, would be up in this level, which would be right here. Again, I like the formation of it. It bounced off a zone, retested, and then just continued to fall. Was unable to do it again. And again, we're flirting with the tops. You know, we know buyers or sellers have stepped in. So 36.26 is probably a short area for me here, right? And I'm okay with that. I think that's pretty good. Downside, we're going to have to wait for this thing to come all the way back down here. That's about an 80 pip move. I don't think we're hitting that today. If we do, something crazy happened. In which case it would be set up for a parabolic retracement, and we'd be willing to go long off that anyway. So 35 is kind of my entry for the bottom. Again, that's probably going to be, again, 74 pip move. That's going to be a Sunday thing. And again, we're sitting right in the middle in this one, so I don't really see much opportunity for this today. It would have to rally up 55 pips to turn and flip on us. Again, just keep that, stay focused with where we're at right now. I think is probably the best bet. And actually, we could kind of shrink this zone up here into that range. Okay, so we're having some problems. Let's see. Could we take that to the downside? We actually could take that to the downside, I guess. That wouldn't be horrible to take. I'd like to see, again, we have not gotten the confirmation entry. If we can get a red close below this level, right? That level is sitting at 135.67. If we can get a red close below that, there's a short. There's a short in there. You could take a short off that position as well. And again, get some room, some push to the downside. Basically taking over this level right here. Right. That's what your profit target would look like. Actually, it'd be higher than that. Sorry. It would be like there. Okay. Some type of close. Again, make sure you're out before like this level in here. Okay. You want to. This is an area that you're going to be cautious with. All right. Dollar yen. So, dollar yen, guys. This one came off of a level. Here's where we are now. Here's where we were yesterday, right here, right in this chunk. Now, we were able to go higher. Again, there is a level formation over here that we talked about. This was formed last night, I guess. And then again, typically at our chart school time, you guys can see what do we do? We got to pull back into it. Risk was rather small. It was only about 6 pips. And you can see where it pushed back down to. Now, I left this on here not to talk about it because we didn't analyze this yesterday. This one formed yesterday during the day. And a couple things that I want to point out. One, look at the 5 candles or 6 candles straight up. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 straight up. Whenever we see 6 straight up, we got to be thinking, hey, listen, is there a reversal possibility in here, right? Now, it did push down, and there's a little bit of a gap and some chop in here as well. And what happened? We pulled right back, right? When we pulled right back, those are the signs, and typically those are the places that we want to get in. So, next step is, do we have enough room before we hit our full profit target? Well, full profit target, again, goes back to the start of the move, to the candle prior to the move where the base is, right? There's the base. So look at this one. This was like literally almost a textbook kind of retracement trade, right? Again, large push up, put a top in, dropped lower, pulled back up, retested that same high, right? And again, we got front run once, we retested that high, and what happened? Boom, collapsed all the way down, tagged to 1 to 3, which was right where the gap was, which was an absolute perfect place for a profit target. Absolutely perfect, because we know buyers were stepping in right here, right below that line. And then it ended up continuing to push lower once it broke through. And again, that's probably why we had that little bit of a push there. And again, this green line is exactly where your target would have been. You wanted to make sure that you were out before that time. And you can see the green box was actually formed, goes slightly lower. Perfect trade. Absolutely perfect trade setup. So I don't know if anybody got that last night. Like I said, this one kicked in at our normal chart school time, like 9 p.m. last night. Which means you wake up in the green. These are the ideal trades, guys. Trade them at night. Like I said, it's like 10:30 a.m., 10 o'clock at night. It's where some of the best setups are, right? And people don't get these. Again, morning, night. Right now, would I be, things that I'd be worried about on this one? Again, I do see a little 30-minute zone in here. And I'm okay with this zone. This zone is, again, we flirted around the top of this zone twice already. Both times it barely scratched the surface of that zone. So, oops. Let's grab this and place this right here. That level's coming at 107.04. So if we can get down to that level, and again, depending on the time we get to that level, there could be a nice little pop off of that one as well. I would also keep this top one on my radar again. We spent like no time there. Again, I got front run, then touched. So I think either of these two zones are valid. You know, if you want to keep either of these two on your radar, the 107.35 and 107.04. Either one of these two would be nice little, smaller time entries. And again, we're talking about small entries, guys. They're only about 35 pips apart here, so we're not talking about 90, 100, 500 pip runners. But what do we have? We have, in the last 24 hours, 3 pips worth of movement. So you got to grab what you can. I mean, it's basically like this is what it actually looks like. We're stretching it so we can get some, again, smaller type movement in here. And again, the risk level in this one was only about 5, right? The total move on that one, the 1 to 5, was down to 26. So just keep it all in perspective. These are not huge moves. It's the market is just not, this market is just not dictating it right now. And again, we finally have some movement over here. This one has moved a little bit more. It was 9 when we started, so we've moved a bit here. This one has also moved slightly. And again, dollar CAD has leveled out. But again, dollar yen, euro, this one, dollar CAD. I mean, none of these is really. And again, all this is pound movement, actually. This is pound movement. This is pound movement. This is pound movement. So the pound is obviously moving. All right. Actually, let me see. Did anybody say anything? Hold on. No, it doesn't look like it. No, nothing really. Nothing in the last little bit. So yeah, it's surprising that we got that much movement that quick. All right, here we go. So, a couple different positions in this one as well. Again, we had that 94.42 level that we were looking at. Okay. Again, remember this 94.42 was our aggressive target. We wanted price to get up there. We've been basing. We were going for the push over here, right? And this is actually based off of. I forget what we based it off of. Was it this one? Oh yeah. It was this one. So we talked about, hey, listen, this one has not been moving. We're kind of in consolidation. We talked about this level here. And again, it was kind of a hidden level. I mentioned, guys, it's going to be an aggressive level. And again, the aggressive level ended up putting up some resistance right here. You can see it kind of wiggled back and forth again. But there was just too much momentum for that aggressive of a level. So it ended up being the 4-hour level that mattered the most in this one. And again, small 4-hour level. We're talking about a 9 pip 4-hour level. And we've hit it a few times. All right, so here's our prices now. Last night, or actually yesterday, we were right here. Okay, so we're coming off of that zone. And I said the way that this one reacted, and we talked about this yesterday, right? Here was one touch. Here was a 2 touch that pushed it to the brink. And I mentioned, hey, listen, I don't know if I'm going to take it again because it's hit a few times. It pushed it all the way to the brink. Well, what happened? It came back up, and again, we barely even grazed the surface. We got front run off of that candle, that new level, which kind of makes you got to think, hey, listen, there are some new sellers based off of this new level, which just happens to coincide with the old 4-hour level. And what happened? It pushed down. It gave us an entry again, and off to the races. This one has been a big mover. You're talking about 60 pips to the downside. So not only is it a retrace of yesterday's kind of not normal kind of Swiss movement. Again, we've reestablished a new level, and that reestablished yesterday right at chart school time, right? We were sitting right here at this new level at 9 o'clock. Nice bump away, pull up. This told us that, hey, listen, this is a legit level. It grazed it and popped it, and then there we go. You're off. So what can we do with it today is the big question. It's funny. Here's where we were on Tuesday. We're back at that again. I mean, basically 14 pip difference from where we were on Tuesday. All it was a pop-up and a retrace. So right now, I would say, again, still kind of keep your eye on this kind of golden line down here. That golden line is at 93.85. I don't know that I would take a long off of it. I mean, maybe at 10 today. I mean, if we can get down to that level, let's see. We're about 18 pips. We got an hour and 20 minutes. It's funny. The hourly is 9 pips ATR. So could it push itself down there? Yeah, it could. Again, this could coincide with the a consumer sentiment trade today. How much risk is it? It's about 14. All right, if we can get down to this level at, not there. If we can get to this level at 10, there is a potential trade there, okay? But really only at 10, 10:30, okay? And again, that's the preliminary University of Michigan consumer sentiment kind of trade setup. And again, that's just playing this consolidation back and forth. I do like the 93.47 better than I like that zone, but 93.85 would be something that if we could time it right with the news, there could be a pop to the top side on this one. And again, that would kind of coincide with, whether more positive news or, the market's kind of, stepping in on that one. So again, keep that one on your radar. Kind of an A minus. Like I said, I don't like to trade much, past 10 on Fridays. But again, that may give us a little pop off of there. It gave us a nice response last time it was there as well. NQ. All right, so NQ basically gave us a bunch of consolidation. We have an area marked off here where we had to push through. And it just kind of, again, here's where we are right now. Let's see. Here's 8:30 right now. Yesterday we were sitting right here, the same spot. So we had a little push down to that zone, a little push up, a little drop, and back in the same spot. So not much has changed in 24 hours. I still think, again, if you're looking for an aggressive entry, there is an aggressive short, approximately. And again, remember, ECN data, 10-7-22, you guys can see it here. It forced itself away. It got front run and pushed down again. That would be an aggressive short. Again, 10-10-30 reversal would be not bad on that one. Downside, I'm not really interested in any of the buys in this one. Again, this level's been tested multiple times now. It will fail. Even though we have this push, again, most of that is because of this, this big drop that occurred yesterday. All right. I think right now, it looks like it wants to, rally up. We'll see when U.S. traders get in about 45 minutes. But I'd be willing to take a short off that level. Or they're, 10-7-22 or 10-8-34. I think either of those are fine shorts. Don't short the NQ. Honestly, James, I don't really have any reason to not short it, at this point. Again, from either of these two levels, price, sellers have stepped in. Yeah, sellers have stepped in. Pullbacks for what? For longs? We're in the same position we were yesterday. I'm not interested in buying this one long. Especially going, again, could there be an end of day rally? Sure, there could be. But, we could also see massive coronavirus news today as well, going into Fridays. New all-time highs again with coronavirus, people shutting down again. None of those things are positive for the NQ today. And again, I said it yesterday. I just don't have a lot of faith in it today. For the rest of this week, I feel like it's made its bed. It needs to sleep in it now, for lack of a better word. Okay. And again, was this a viable short? Yep. If you look to the left, it was a viable short. It was an area that was tested with this candle and this candle to the downside. So yeah, again, it's so small. It's such a consolidated period. It's like this, guys. This is really what it looks like, right? So again, just be cautious with that one. S&P. Okay. S&P, again, we bounced off that 31.97 level. Again, there's still a big level up here at 32.42. This kind of has the same thing. Again, we hit here. Again, forced away pretty decently. It's kind of the same thing. If we get a little bit of a rally up, we are approaching those zones where sellers have stepped in the past. I don't need to look at opinions. I'm going to follow what I've seen in the charts. And it doesn't matter what chart it is. Again, remove what it is. I've seen sellers here step in. Again, that would be an hourly level. It's been tested and pushed. Again, tested again and pushed. I would have to say kind of the same thing. There's an aggressive entry here. There's a higher level one going up a time frame. You can see we have those higher levels sitting up there. And again, price has been unable to get there. Last time we touched it, it was a big fall to the downside. So kind of the same thinking in this one, right? Kind of the same thinking. Again, look at this sideways movement here on the hourly. I can stretch it to make it look really exciting, but that's really what we've had. A very blunted, kind of consolidated market. Now, if we do get a big headline from Europe, that could help a little bit. But I don't see the most positive news coming out of Europe right now. Everything that I've read so far and some of the consensuses and things like that have not been great. I don't know what they could come up with that would be kind of an instantaneous impact. Remember, if they do something that's kind of earth-shattering, the Fed will also kind of have a magnifying glass on it. Like, are we going to do something as big? And you guys can see, look at the ATR on this one. The ATR has just dropped. This is the lowest the ATR on this one has been since July 2nd, right? So for the last 2 weeks, we are at the absolute low right now as far as, what the movements are looking like. All the way back, guys. Look, down here at the bottom, all the way back. Okay. Same thing on the 4 hour. Again, a little bit of a pickup just recently. And again, that's because of this gap. But again, we are at the lowest, guys, over here of what the ATR is looking like. So going into the Friday, no real news. We'll see on this one. Okay. We'll see. And then the Dow. So the Dow has already hit that zone, has already started to roll. Remember, this white zone here is an area, and again, I can shrink it. We did it on the 30, not the 15. You can see we based, we came back down, we pulled back up in again. Pulled back in, went out the top, based back again. So it really likes this zone. We'll see if this is the push. It doesn't have any base, so this one actually does look like it will continue to push down, at least until this level right here. But kind of the same thing. I mean, this is a 15-minute. I'll bring it to a 30 so we can get kind of a true look at it, right? Again, is there a lot of movement? No, not really. I mean, here, here's where we are right now. Here's where we were yesterday. Whoops. Yesterday at the same, whoops, hold on. I've done this twice. There we go. Right here. So again, we're in the exact same place we were yesterday. It did take a turn off the bottom gap zone, okay, and then came up and stabilized, and then it came back up and took one off of that same level again, and now it's starting to turn to the downside. So Dow is also not very exciting for me. There are 2 levels of selling above it as well, if it is able to kind of get an oomph back in it and go higher. Again, is it ideal being in the middle? No, I prefer this upper level as well. But again, neither of those, I mean, this is a pretty nice level. It was tested, and again, kind of the same thing here. This level actually starts back here. So kind of the same thing. I mean, I would say today I'm kind of bearish these right now in the morning. We'll see what U.S. traders think. Again, the University of Michigan consumer sentiment could change the market, trajectory today. And the reason why is because it's preliminary. It's the first one. It kind of gives us a hype. There's really not a way to forecast this one. I mean, people can throw, darts at a dartboard, but we really don't have any true look. Like, what does the consumer feel? This is the first one, and this is the biggest one as far as consumer sentiment goes. So, I mean, I don't know. I'd be in for a big surprise. I love the movement. I think the movement would be great. I'd be all over the movement. We'll see what it does. We'll see what it does. Like I said, Friday is not really my favorite day to trade. I'm typically done early and I'm out. I don't care. Gold. So gold, you guys can see that this one, again, we had those trades. This one continued to push down. We never actually made it back down lower, to an entry that we were looking for. There was a failure to go lower, right? That failure to go lower came in at last night at 10 o'clock, right? Last night at 10 o'clock is what this one came in. It was formed at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And again, I would have ideally liked the green level, but this one didn't quite make it. So yesterday morning, we were sitting right in here, right? Again, we never got to push up to the levels that we were looking for. It just continued to fall. Again, it was basing and was continuing. So this guy there could be some movement out of this one today. It's retraced its kind of parabolic move to the downside. Let me see, what do we have as far as low impact news? Man, not much. Building permits were down. Wholesale sales in CAD was down. Housing starts were on prediction. We do have this as well. Let's see. That inflation expectations also, again, being preliminary. Last time we were expected to get 3% inflation is what the expectation was going to be. I don't think we've actually met that inflation target or what that expectation is. That may provide a little bit of catalyst for this. Again, gold is basically just a hedge for inflation. If they are seeing a much lower kind of expectation for inflation, we could have that could turn this bearish today. I wish they would give us a forecast on this one, but unfortunately they do not. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, this one tends to be pretty good, but again, no forecast on it. Yeah, if this misses, again, it was 3 last time. If we're back down in the 2.5 range, that could be basically a sign that, hey, listen, we don't have as much inflation as we thought. That could provide a catalyst to the downside for this one. But at the same time, I don't know, maybe they come in at 3.5. I'd be a lot more willing to sell this one than buy it, only because, again, we have one level here it's got to finish going through. We got another small level. We got this other one here, which is actually an hourly level. And then we had the original level back here that's just slightly above, formed off of the old level, not the kind of the newly crafted levels. So it's got a bunch of stuff to kind of chunk through, right? Going to an hourly, again, even when it makes it through the new level, the old level, it's got to chunk through this one, and it's got to chunk through this one. So it's definitely got an easier route going down than it does going up. Doesn't mean that it can't do it, but I mean, just looking at this on a chart basis, removing news all aside, I would say that this one also appears that it wants to go back to the downside. Again, you guys can see here on the hourly, it's got a big level to chunk through, and this top one has been pretty solid, as well as that's where it was originally formed here, and again, caused this big spike, this big spike, this big spike, and kind of this retracement and spike back down again. So the 118.12 to 118.16 has been a pretty rock solid level. And we got a little bit of room to run, obviously, but again, it's got some stuff to chunk through. I think heading and flipping and rolling back down again, back into this, 1800, I think is an easier path for gold to be able to take. Silver. So silver came down and did tag a level down here, this 18,930. We had mentioned it yesterday, but again, it's still, for me, this one is still consolidating back and forth. Again, the Chinese data hasn't been necessarily great. I think that's also affecting this one. This one is kind of middle of the range. I'm not as big into silver lately. I liked some of the setups that we had before, but I'm not really. Again, it's still floating in that upper, we're still way up here in the curve. And again, two levels on top of each other. So again, overall, I would say that I still have to be bearish this position, but I don't really love any of the bearish entries at this point, especially where it's at, right? Again, this was a nice hold. Again, that was an hourly and a 4-hour zone that bounced off of yesterday. Okay, so you'd have to say that one is probably still valid. So consolidating in silver, not really any trade set. I'm not interested in for anything on a Sunday on that one. Okay. Oh, I forgot to bring trading view up. Let me bring up trading view. Let me pull oil. Crude. Full feature chart. Let's see what we have in this one. I didn't even look at this one yesterday. So there was that zone. You guys can see we had one little push up here, ended up missing it. Actually no, we tagged the bottom of it. 41.11. So yeah, so here we are right now. 17.12.30. We go back to 16.12.30. We're right there. Okay, so little poke up, right back into that 41 sell area, and we're exactly in the same place we were yesterday. Like I said, I think most of the catalyst has gone out of this one. We really need this one to kind of, we need some type of big news to kind of, I feel like we need somebody to invade somebody else. I hate saying that, but it's like, come on, give it some big movement. It's right now, guys, it's in that same zone that we've had marked off, that kind of magnet zone. Again, the 41 still held. Again, it bounced off that new level that we formed. So again, it was a small short yesterday. Then it just kind of flatline popped and then flat again. Like I said, I don't really like anything long in this one. I have to say I'm bearish this one as well. We have these tops that are coming down. No real great levels. Again, there's this kind of stuff in here. I mean, it's there. It turned off of it, but it pushed it so deeply. I wouldn't be kind of banking too much. I think if anything, there's this area down here at 40 down to 40 or 39.65. That would be something we'd more want to dial into. Would be more of an area that I'd be willing to maybe look at going long, right? But right now, there's just not that much movement in it, right? I mean, the best is the 41 back down this 50-cent drop, and that's the same drop we had from Wednesday, same drop yesterday. And again, that hit. Let's see if it's 12, 15, 3 hours. Again, that hit around 11 o'clock, right? That gave us our biggest bit of movement, and then we spent all day there. A little bit of pop early, and then we're just retracing it back. So oil doesn't look like it's presenting much. And I don't really, again, oil, I'm a currency guy only Friday mornings, and then I'm done. I don't really follow this one on Friday, so be cautious with it. I'm interested to see what it does, and then again, we'll see where it is on Monday. But there's just not enough. I mean, this is what we're dealing with, right? Again, this is great. This is just kind of, we're still stuck inside that same range. And again, I'll extend this zone across to there, and you guys can see, look, down, retested, hit again, based, came up, hit it again, went above, sucked in again, bounced it again, came up, use it again, bounce off the top, up, bounce, 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 came through the bottom, came back up. So it is really it's really stuck with this 40.40 to 40.73. This 30-cent range has just been an absolute magnet for this pair. Not much we can do with it. And again, it's on a 30-minute, so it's not even like I'm picking like higher time frame levels. But I still think 41 is still a good sell. I think 41 is a level that's been proven. Again, if you want to take it a little bit with less risk, 41.12 is the actual entry up top for another short on that one. And again, I think that one's valid. Again, this one got front run right at that number. Maybe even missed it by a penny. It's a little bit hard to tell sometimes with trading view. But I think that one is still good. So again, we can continue. Whoops. Pull that one across there. I still think we're good for that one. All right, guys. So that's it for Friday. Like I said, Friday typically not as much, not really much news we can talk about today. The 8:30 news was kind of just blah. Like I said, it was building starts. It's not a big one. CAD number, their wholesale sales came in much lower than expected by 2%. That may actually cause a little tiny bit of movement in the CAD. No, it's not even causing anything yet in either one. This one is going to falter as well. So, yeah, just not a lot, guys. It's Friday. Typically, you should be done as soon as you can on Fridays. Get out and be done with it. Enjoy your weekend. Let's go ahead and do the drawing for today. So Ernest won yesterday. He tried to buy his way out of it. Right now, we only have 5 people in. I'll drag this across. Remember, I'll give you guys about I'll give you guys a minute and a half. So right at 60, I'll go ahead and close the drawing down for today, and I'll check what questions we have. Remember, even if you're brand new to the channel, exclamation point ticket is how you go ahead and get a ticket for things. And again, it doesn't cost anything. What it does is it gets you pip chips. It can be put forward towards mentoring. And Marina, I saw your email, Marina, about your mentoring session, and I'm pretty sure everything is good with that one. All right. What do we got? That's the best strategy for oil on Friday. Wait till it hits another zone. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's just not a whole lot for me with oil. It's just not a big priority. I like oil on Wednesdays, and that's basically it. I'm not really interested in many other days, but I'm not necessarily so much of a commodities trader. You do like 100 times more oil than I do. All right, we got 1 minute to go. 10 entrants, 12 tickets. Building it up. If YOLO wins, I may give him your pip chips, Ernest. I love that name. YOLO Foma YOLO. That's awesome. I love that name. That name is great. So good. Say that. See, guys, everybody try to say that 3 times really, really fast. And listen to yourself saying it. I'm going to have my kids say that later. I'm going to mess with them. I love that name. That name is awesome. That is great. I'm telling you, say it fast 3 times, guys. Try it. Everyone in your house can be like, what are you saying? So good. All right, 7 more seconds. I'm going to close it down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bam. All right, look at that. Perfect. I wish it was perfect like that every time. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and draw today's winner. Ernest was the winner yesterday. Let's see, how many tickets does Ernest have today? Let's see if 3 is going to be Ernest's new lucky thing, because I think he did 3 yesterday also. I think it was 3. Was it 5 or was it 3 yesterday? I feel like it was 3. But let's see. If Ernest wins today, will 3 be his true lucky number? All right, here we go. Winner of today's drawing is... you do this every day, the channel, pre-market. Yeah, YOLO, at least for the foreseeable future, I'll be doing 8 to 9 every morning. Oh, Jesus. Man, there is a battle. I'm telling you, hold on. This is what it is. Hold on. Here we go. Here is the battle, guys. Make it big. Oh, come on. No, not that. Man, I just want the big picture. So here is... Oh, I can't make it bigger. Here is the battle between Ernest and Marina over pip chips at this point. Or wait a second. Hold on. Maybe this one is better. Can I blow this one up bigger? Yeah, maybe this one. Maybe this is a better one. These two keep trading it back and forth, guys. Unbelievable. So she wins. Look at this. So look. All right, so let me go back to giveaways. So obviously, this is the one we just had. This was yesterday. This one, it doesn't matter. I got it. How do I edit it? Can I see it now? She won here. Mark giveaways complete. So again, you guys can see they're trading back and forth. And then I think Ernest won this one too. And Ernest won this one. So this week we've had an absolute monopoly on pip chips. It's literally been Ernest Marina all week. Unbelievable. Go for Marina, but I want to win again. Debbie's like, girl power, but can I just have one? It's crazy, right? I cannot believe that. Let me give her pip chips. And Ernest, all I gotta say is you are lucky that she cashed some pip chips in, because she is literally right on your heels. Actually, wait, hold on. Look at this. So to get those mentoring sessions, it is 500 pip chips. she redeemed hers for, she did a redemption last week for mentoring session. But look at the leaderboard. Look at the difference in these two totals. Talk about being right on somebody's heels. So close. And Debbie's right there too. Debbie's gonna take it. Will's over here smiling. Just keep spending yo pip chips. All right, guys. So with that being said, you guys have a good Friday. Like I said, hopefully we get some more movement. Again, the pound is giving us some drop right now. That's about the only thing that we got moving for the most part. Like I said, pound has had this big candle. It's back into areas 133.91. Again, back down in this area I'd be watching for. It did actually take a bounce. And remember, we talked about this being a bit aggressive for the downside at 10 o'clock. It's only 9 o'clock. So again, we did not get in there. This did not trigger for news. Remember, that was the warning. This needed to trigger at news time. At this point, I may even be interested in flipping this to the downside. Right? You guys can see that the zone was formed off of that level. At this point, I'd be more interested in taking this for a flip. Okay, let's see if we can get a little bit of white space below this pound. Right? Let's see if we can get a little bit more of a pullback under, a pullback up, grab this level for 10, and take a short off of it. All right? I spent most of mine, killed my cushion. It's all right. You guys are allowed to spend. Will, you still haven't signed up for the mentor session, by the way. It's still sitting there. All right, guys. So with that said, I'm out of here. Thank you guys so much. Next week, we'll be on 8 to 9, Monday through Friday next week as well. I'll see you guys then. Take care.